database, worked in database for quite a while, and it's an interesting class. And so, but database work does take a lot of practice. Learning SQL is something that you have to practice over and over to really get proficient of it. And, it gets way more in depth, but this is an introductory course, so it's not, too difficult. There's a little bit of hurdles using an IDE if you haven't used an IDE before. And as you build a database, you're going to build it. You're first going to build the database. So you're going to create the database and create tables, create rows and columns or add rows, instances. And as you do this, and eventually add data. So of course you cannot add data if the database does not exist. So it's very important to follow the modules and submit all the assignments, and especially in Codio. And so as later on when you're module 3, module 4, module 6, as you're doing further work to that same database, that database already exists. So make sure you're doing that as you go along. If you have any questions using Codio, please contact the service desk, the IT service desk. If you need any help with that, let me know. And I prefer emails by point of contact, but we also have a general discussion board that you can put discussions in. And if you have any questions, feel free to use that. And you also have access to academic support. I have a separate announcement on that as well. So the assignments, so the reading for this week is Introduction to Structured Databases, Chapter 1. And we'll have a discussion, which is Introduction and also Database Basics. There's the tutorial, which is non-graded, which is going over Codio. So make sure you do that. And you may want to do it a couple times, especially if you haven't used an IDE before. There's a quiz on the database basics, and then you'll use a lab practicing query language in Codio, and then finally reviewing your projects. So as you do your work, please submit assignments on time. Try to get the discussions in early. They are due on Thursday, the initial post, and you can reply up to Sunday. But all assignments are open, so remember you can work ahead. And all assignments build on each other again. So make sure that you're doing the work as it goes along. So you're prepared for future assignments. So if you go into the learning modules and you start here, then you can look at the syllabus. There's access to the Zybook, and you will be using the Zybook. There's note that we will not be using MySQL. We're going to be using Codio. So chapter 1, there's a little reference in 1.6 to MySQL, which we won't be using. We'll be using Codio throughout the course. And so, you will create a structured database and use relational concepts. You'll implement basic processing functionalities and create a new structured database environment and analyze the results of queries. So you create a database, load it with data, and then start doing SQL to pull data from the database and start doing reporting, those type of things. So again, you do use Codio. There's a student guide that you should go through, definitely, and it'll show you how to use Codio and use it on your own machine. And so if you have any issues testing it, please contact the support right away. And then also you'll use the book, and you can see, just looking at the book, we'll do introduction database, relational database, database design, SQL, intermediate query language capabilities. And like I said, query, I worked in a query shop for 10 years, and it can get very detailed and complex, when you start doing joins and unions that we'll get into. Want to do those later in the course. And so the topics are, right here, and you should enjoy the course really well. Like I said, we won't be using MySQL. That's the only thing special note. You should get Sense Platform, and if you need the code, access through the online bookstore, and that'll help you out throughout each of the modules. And I check my email pretty much every day. I do, like I say, offshore fish sometimes. So there is sometimes I'm away for a day, but that's usually on a Sunday. So, but I always respond with 24 hours. I check my email every morning, usually every night before I go to bed, and then throughout the day. And so, if you need to reach me right away, please email me. I do check the discussion boards, but I just always have my email open, and I get a little notification when I get an email. So, that's my preferred method of contact. And then always know that that you have the other academic resources out there are available as well. If you look at the assignment grades, the course is worth 1,000 points. And you can see that the projects which were used in Codio and the major activities is, nearly half the class. And then there's, 5 quizzes. The labs include, using Codio as well. And then there's activities and discussions. So, it's a lot of hands-on use in database. But like I said, if you're going to work in database, it is practice, practice, practice to really learn SQL. And the common SNU grading system for undergraduate. If you have any questions, please let me know. And then here's our weekly assignment. Like I said, this week we went over that, and it'll be 8 modules or 8 weeks, as you know, for the course. And so, like I said, participation is submitting assignments sometimes, being involved in the discussion, submitting discussions. For the discussions, I really like for you to go out and, use the internet and find some other resources, go deeper than just the textbook, and try to bring new information to the discussions and reference your resources. If you're referencing the textbook, that's fine, but please provide references for technical information. And it allows other users or other students to look at where you got that information and go back and look at it. It provides you an opportunity to do some research, and then provides you an opportunity to see what all the other students in the class are researching. You can submit assignments late, and if you do get late behind on an assignment, since the assignments build on each other, you really have to complete it to do future assignments. But I really encourage you to submit assignments time. There's a 10% penalty for submitting assignments late, up to 1 week late, for each assignment. And but all assignments are open. So if you have the opportunity, please work ahead. In case any kind of conflicts or issues arise, like you have a vacation scheduled in, mid-March or late April, or you get sick, or personal or work conflicts, if you work ahead a little bit, then please always refer to your student hub. As far as academic integrity, there is turn in that checks your assignments when you turn them in to see for plagiarism. There's expectation, to work as a professional and to submit your own work, so, make sure you're referencing resources you're paraphrasing, using your own words, so it's not that you can't use resources. It's just that, you need to understand the information, have it come in your own words, and then reference the source of the material. So that's the syllabus. And then, like I said, we'll use iBook, and there's the Sense that gives you instant feedback as you do submissions. And so does require code. Here's the turn it in. Here's the general discussion, questions, topics. So if you see that in there, you check it, and someone else has questions and you went through the same issue, feel free to respond. That's for everybody in the class at any time. And then, once you review all those, the next is to go on to module 1, and module 1. Here we go. Module 1. There's introduction. We go over database basics. There's the discussion, the tutorial, the quiz. Actually starting to practice SQL, and then you go through the modules. You're going to create projects. The projects are going to build on each other, and then there's going to be a whole submission of that one project at the end of the course. So make sure you're saving your work. If you have any issues, get into Codio right away. Don't wait till Sunday. Learn how to use the IDE. So that just becomes a thing that you're doing, and get into the heart of the material, which is building the database and using SQL. Again, temperature, So I'm here, someone that, have worked in databases for, um, I always enjoyed data is, the most enjoyable part. I worked in telecom for, nearly 20 or over 20 years, partially in the military. Did worked on databases in the military and was database admin there in the Verizon. When I worked for Verizon, worked in database shop for 10 years, and and we moved a lot of data around. And I've also been a system administrator, worked in Linux and Windows servers, and and for Fortune 500 companies. If you have any questions, like I said, prefer that you email me. I check it daily, and I usually respond, within a few hours, but definitely within 24 hours. And then, down in Southwest Florida, like I said, so sometimes I go out on the boat and get out of touch a little bit other away from cell phone service. But look forward to working with you, class. Like I said, I love working with data. And if you have any questions, hopefully you enjoyed as well. And feel free to shoot me an email anytime. Thank you.